Hello, everyone. Come on in. All right. So, Angelica, we could actually take off the video. Yeah, perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an amazing masterclass with the amazing Rebecca Green. I am
Thank
so
you. Thank
excited
you.
because I feel like obviously like AI has been around for a while now and there's so many classes on it, but it is changing so much all the time. And I feel like specifically, the buzz right now is moving from ChatGPT to Claude, and then everyone has their opinions about it. So I know you like go hardcore deep diving on this. So I'm so excited for you to be teaching us all the things today. So I'm just gonna shut up and let you get to work.
Okay. Thank you. I'm super excited
You're
too. This is
welcome.
definitely one of my favorite classes to teach. So let me do a. Or not, my kids have it, so I'm going to go ahead and bring. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We're good.
Okay. Good. Okay, so yes, lots of chatter about ChatGPT and Claude, and I definitely believe we all need more than one friend. And so I have not canceled Claude because I'm sorry, I've not canceled ChatGPT because of that. I'm still using it. I'm also using Gemini in different ways. And so while I lean to Claude for a lot of automation, I'm not going to get too far in the weeds on that. I'm going to give full disclosure. I'm also a Google Workspace user. So I'm going to be demoing everything on Google Workspace. Excuse me. And inside of the CEO Agent Academy, which is the course that I run, I do have instructions for Outlook users as well. Everything that I'm talking about today can be done in Outlook. I just don't have the capabilities of demoing that. So that's just a little bit of housekeeping. Okay, so 16 things you didn't know AI in your inbox could do for your business. We are all in our inbox and our calendar all the time. And so that is a really, really smart place to start when you're thinking about AI as more than just something that writes some listing descriptions for you, right? Like that's the basic use of AI. Everything else that it does is actually the gold. Before I go in, I can't talk about, oh, there goes my weird camera. Sorry about the zoom in. One of these days I'm going to fix it. Okay, so before I go into this, if I'm talking about email and you're a Google user, I can't talk about email without showing this feature. So just bear with me for a second. So inside of your settings, if you look on the screen here, you go to settings in your Gmail. If you go down, three down under general, you're going to go settings, then all settings. It says undo send. I don't know if everyone knows about this undo send, but Gmail has a 30-second, for up to 30 seconds, you can have an undo button. It's 5, 10, 20, or 30. This has nothing to do with AI. I just really love this feature, and it definitely has gotten me out of sticky situations in the past. How many times have you hit send and you were like, if I could just take it back? Well, this is how you take it back inside of your Gmail. So again, nothing to do with AI, just something I can't not talk about. Kristen, did you know that existed?
I did not.
It's a good one. Okay, so moving on. So let's talk about integration because a lot of us are using ChatGPT or Claude. We're copying and we're pasting things in. And so I'm going to talk to you about integrating Claude, for example, into your business. So if you connect Claude to your email, you can voice prompt to Claude a number of different things, right? It's not a hack, it's actually a setup. So you're going to connect Claude using Claude connectors, and I'm going to just demo that real quick. You're going to go into Claude. If you go down to the bottom left and you see your name, your initials, you'll click on that. You'll come to settings, and then you're going to go down here to connectors, and you're going to look either search or you're going to look for Gmail. You also want to, or you could connect Outlook. That's a new feature that actually rolled out sometime this month. You can also connect your drive here. Kristen, I see some chats coming in. Are you managing that chat or should I be watching those too?
Yeah, so Lauren just asked, I was just about to ask too, are we supposed to be seeing you do something? Because right now it just says the title of the class. And
Oh,
I think,
yeah,
yeah,
you
so I
are.
think it's not
So,
showing. Yeah.
okay, let me stop sharing and do a new share. Glad you mentioned that.
I came back
I've
and
been
I was
on
like, I
classes
think
for I've been on classes for like 20 minutes and then somebody's like, "Oh, by the way, I can't see anything."
totally.
Okay. So, let's just see. Can you see my settings now?
Now we can. Will we see your
Okay.
Gmail? Yeah, your Gmail settings.
Okay, let's go
Perfect.
back to Gmail. Go into Gmail settings. This is going to make more sense. You're going to go into Gmail settings. You're going to click all settings. You're going to go 1, 2, 3 down. You're going to look for undo send. And then you're going to select, I think, 30 seconds because the 30 seconds is really helpful to be able to say, oh, SHIT, I made a mistake. Click the undo button and it drops it right back into your drafts. Okay, the next thing I was demoing is inside of Claude to connect your email and your calendar to Claude. You're going to go in, you're going to go down to the bottom and find your initials. You're going to go to settings, you're going to go to connectors, and then you're either going to search for it. You can browse connectors. Typically, the email ones show up. You're going to configure and connect it. And that's some magic. That creates magic inside of your email account. Okay, going back to where I started. So, Google, all of these things again are possible inside of Outlook as well. That's a new integration. So, you're going to want to look through that. So, how am I using the connections? I'm using the connections in a lot of ways, but one hack in particular is I'm doing almost zero typing these days. So, I'm using a tool called Whisperflow, WISPR Flow. You can dictate directly into any field on your computer and on your phone. Oh, there goes the pores on my face check. So if Whisperflow is something that you're interested in looking into, you can go into your Gmail, for example, and you can open your Whisperflow and you can say, hey, Gemini, can you help me find the email about 6725 Northeast Broadway? And Whisperflow, if you look right down here on the right-hand side, do you see in the Gemini where it's added my text. What's unique about Whisperflow is it's not like just a voice record that only works on your phone. It works across all your platforms. And I personally think it's brilliant, partially because I'm a really bad typist. My husband always says he hears me in the office and it's like, gosh, you're so fast at that. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't read any of it because it's not spelled correctly. So Whisperflow helps with that too. But I love the voice command with Claude, and I love the voice command even if you're still using ChatGPT or the voice command with Gemini because it's getting to know your tonality. So talk about training it to understand you and your voice. The voice command component is super sharp. So I love that tool. We're not typing, we're talking. Okay, so what else can we do with the Claude connection? If you are back in your email, you could either with Gemini or with Claude, you can say, hey, Gemini, please pull the email about 6725 Northeast Broadway and create a summary for me, as well as a follow-up for the client. And you hit send. Gemini is thinking you can do this in Claude. I'm going to deploy Claude to do something a little bit more intense. But the email provided is forwarded. So this is correct. It is actually forwarded. And I wanted to show you the differences between Gemini and Claude. Gemini is not opening that email and reading the attachments, but Claude will. And so that's something to keep in mind. But let's say I wanted to send a message. Hey, Gemini, send a message to Rebecca at RebeccaGreen.co. Remind her about the Moms in Real Estate class at 10:30 on 4/22, and make sure she knows that she has to prep 16 things to do, 16 things you didn't know that AI could do for you. Whatever that message is, you can voice command it. It will go in and it'll actually create the message. One of the things that I like to do is, either if I'm using Claude or Gemini, I prefer to have it actually create the draft for me. So here are, I see people struggling to see. Can you see? I'll blow it up bigger. Is that better? Okay.
That's much
So I
better.
asked it to create, okay, I asked it to create an email for me, and Gemini gave me two options. Prep reminder for Moms in Real Estate class. Hey, Rebecca, just a quick reminder for the Moms in Real Estate class that was scheduled. Please ensure that you're prepped. It took everything I said. It gave me three options, actually. And I can just hit the insert button. When you hit the insert button, it actually drafts the message for you. It's typed in Rebecca Green, my email, and you hit send. I love that feature. I use it all day, every day. Hey, send Kristen Cantrell a message, and attach my 2026 headshot for an upcoming event. It will do all of the work for you. So another feature I love is, and I have agents inside of my academy that have used this one a lot. Let's say you have a frustrated seller or somebody with a lowball offer, a lowball counter, or you have, I put in here, a co-op agent being passive aggressive. That's never happened to any of us, right? No one's ever had that before. And you're not sure how to respond to them. Lean in to your AI and tell it, hey, I have a really difficult situation. This is what's going on. Can you help me understand how to respond? And can you tell me, how to ease the seller's stress, or how to eliminate any kind of passive aggressive behavior, or how to prompt the agent better, whatever it might be. So I did this class inside of our academy. I got a text message from an agent maybe 15 minutes after the class ended. She had a seller that was pushing back really hard on staging, and she felt like she had said everything there was to say. She felt like she had already communicated everything that she could. So she said, Claude, I need help creating an email to make my seller understand the importance of staging. I advise them to say things like, please pull stats. And it crafted a beautiful email. She sent it to her seller. The seller responded in minutes and said, gosh, I'm so sorry. I think I probably wasn't listening to you. And I love everything that you said here. You're right. We should go ahead and go with the staging. It was a total win and it was just you know how sometimes we dig our heels in because, like, this is what I know. I know you have to stage. And we get hung up a little bit on maybe how to articulate it. And so the message isn't being heard. And when a message isn't being heard, you can kind of try and say it in 5 or 6 different ways. It might never be heard. Whereas Claude just removed kind of the emotional connection. It removed, your exact stance on it, and it provided a different perspective, and it was a win for the agent, excuse me.
Rebecca, there's
Okay,
a question.
calendar. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so are you using skills to run this, or is this all under context files?
Okay, great question. I am not using skills to run what I've talked about thus far, but I do use skills for lots of other things. I think that writing your listing descriptions is AI 101. This is like AI 102, because you don't need to know how to build a skill. You don't need any special prompts in order to get what you want out of it. You're simply integrating. And integration with AI is, anyone who knows me here knows I love a good system, right? So the integration with AI, that to me, people, is like the gold, and that is the game changer. So nothing special is needed for this except for connecting the apps, which is part of what I think is so cool. Hopefully that answered the question. Okay, so turning your calendar into a real plan. right? Build me a time blocked schedule with prep time before each appointment. Give me drive times between showings and a 30-minute admin block at the end of the day. You can go in and voice prompt that, and Claude will create all of those things for you. You can do it inside of Claude as well and ask Claude to go into your calendar to find that. I love that for efficiency, but I also love that for planning your day. So next thing, finding emails. Sure, we can search emails. We can, they have great search features, but sometimes we get an email. Who here has gotten an email from another agent and they just say offer? No address, nothing, right? It just says offer in the subject. So when you're searching for it, you might not find it. They have great search features, and connecting allows you to get really granular. Find an email from my TC with a contract attached on, Warwick Street. You can get super granular with how it is asking for the information. Okay, the next one is going to be a little bit longer. This one I want to show you the full demo. I'm a big template user. I've been using the same email templates. I have 75 of them. I've been using the same email templates for 10 years. They've had edits and updates over time. But I want to show you, if you have, and I've always had agents who are on Google Workspace leave those templates inside of their drive. I want to show you how the integration, no special tools, no anything, extra here, just actually utilizing the connections. I am going to say, Claude, please go into Drive and find, congratulations, we have an offer template. I need to create an email for my client. Please then go into the email and look for the offer on Northeast Broadway. You'll need to download or open the PDF. Please complete the template for me once you've found everything. Okay, there's my complete instructions there. I'm going to go ahead and deploy Claude. I'm also going to go to Gemini because I'm going to show you the difference between the two. Claude always asks you to approve the plan. So you're going to hit approve plan. It's going to create the plan. Now I'm going to go into Gemini. Find me the congratulations. We have an offer email template inside of Drive. Gemini is going to work faster because Gemini can't actually open that document and read it the same way Claude can. But Gemini, you can still pull your email templates in by having them sitting inside of your Drive folder. So I have 75 of them sitting inside of Drive. It just pulled that template, and now I'm going to just hit the insert button. And let me close this screen a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so inside, it's gone ahead and it's dropped the email in. It's gone ahead and it's dropped the email in for me. Now, in this case, I hit insert before I opened the entire document. And so it's given me the link for it, which I don't want. So I'm going to go back to Gemini and say, please open the template so that I can insert the entire template into an email. Okay, so my screen just flipped over. And the reason my screen flipped over, I didn't make that happen. Claude is actually working in the background doing that. So I went from my Gmail screen, and then Claude is now inside of my offer received. It's inside of the template. See how it says Claude is active in this tab group? It's copying this template while I'm talking to you, and it is working on getting it back into my email. So you're actually seeing Claude do the work. Okay, so inside of, I want to show you what those look like inside. So inside of my Drive, all of the email templates live just like this. And you can definitely go from Drive directly into your email. The way I have them set up, you can simply click the create a draft inside of your Gmail. And that's like, you can do that without any kind of AI. So also know that the connectors exist in other areas, but you can actually create it just like that, without Claude or without Gemini. The difference is I like using it to actually pull the information in and move it into my email for me without any other kind of conversation. I'm sorry, without going into any other platforms. Okay, 3 new. Do we have totally crazy? Okay, great. Are you using, okay, nothing new there. Okay, so Claude is still over here working. And I am going to let Claude do, I'm going to let Claude do what it's doing. And see, you can see it's like it now knows I'm also on Zoom. So it's over here viewing the completed page. I'm going to let that do its thing, and I'm going to come back to it in a minute so that we can move on to one of the other things. Effectively, what I'm doing here is I'm saying, Claude, I need you to pull a template, I need you to pull a contract, and I need you to complete the template for me. So let's just look at what that template actually says. That template actually says, congratulations, we have an offer. And then it says, here's the summary of the offer. It says buyer's agent name. There's blanks to fill in. This is, again, how a template that I use for delivering offers to my sellers. And so there are lots of fill in the blanks. And I want you to pay attention to that because I want you to see what Claude does with the fill in the blanks. So in the past, we would open our contract. We would go through our contract. We'd extract all of this information. We'd type it in, or we'd copy and paste it from the contract into our email in order to send it. Now, caveat here, I love systems, but I've also been a real estate agent for 34 years, and I'm really also into contracts. And I do not think at any stage we should be deferring our contract management or knowledge or any of the above. We should not be deferring that to AI. However, I am totally okay with AI crafting an email for me to save me the time, because right now, while that's happening, I'm talking to you. So I could be doing other tasks while it was generating the email. And then I'm going to use the email to go through the contract. And now I'm doing 2 things at one time because the email is already created. I'm using it as like a check and balance system. And then I just get to hit send to the client when it's done. And so that's just a little bit of a, let's not let our AI run our contracts. Okay, it's still working over here, so I'm going to move on to another
Rebecca,
one. Do you have any
if
questions?
you want to check,
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to look in the chat, there's a question about running
Okay.
a skill. I don't know what a skill is, so I feel like I'm a little lost on
Okay.
what that is.
Do you have any notes for this class that you can send at the end? This is a great class. Yes. Okay. You're welcome. I am going to send a link for the 16 things you didn't know AI could do for you. But Kristen, this is also recorded, right? Okay, great. So it's also recorded because the recording is going to help you kind of walk through it step by step. And I know we only have an hour together, and I want to make sure that I cover all of the 16 things. Okay, so going back to our 16 great things.
Wait, there was one more question.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I missed it. What's the other question? What did I miss?
All right, it says without running a skill, how is this
Yeah.
affecting your token burn rate?
Yeah. Okay. Great question. This is pretty low on the token burn rate. I happen to be on the $200 a month plan. Have I actually looked at what my burn rate is? I haven't. But one thing you should know about your burn rate is that they're done in 5-hour increments. Oh, I really need to fix that camera. My goodness. Oh, and it's like the weirdest, it's the loser sign to make it go back. So 5 hours. So Claude, and I talk with my hands, so it's constant. Claude is the tokens. The burn runs on a 5-hour cycle. So I don't know if you knew that. What that means is if you start at 7 o'clock in the morning and you turn Claude on, it gives you 5 hours. And then it times out, but then you have your next 5-hour batch midday. And so just know that if you're going to be doing heavy lifting, it's 5-hour chunks. And without running the skill, there's no reason to run the skill on this. You can run the skill, and there are other integrations. For example, I am using inside of Claude. I have Claude every single morning, which is down on the list, but I'll talk to you about it now. I have Claude send me a recap on my email every morning to let me know what I have for appointments and to let me know what prep I need to do, to talk to me about drive times. And it gives me a whole, breakdown. That's something that I built directly inside of Claude Cowork because that's something that's scheduled. It's called a scheduled task, and that's deployed automatically. Hopefully that helps answer that question. Okay, Kristen, you said, what is a skill? A skill inside of Claude is like the directions. This is the master plan for doing something. And that is what a skill is. Okay, Sarah, you were saying if you don't go over 5-hour increment with your limit, can you start over with it? Yeah, it just resets every 5 hours. It's not like a 12-hour calendar day. It resets every 5 hours.
And then that's what's part of your membership with Claude. You're saying you don't
Uh-huh.
have to use the
Yep.
extra tokens beyond that, as long as you don't go
I
over
don't
five
buy
hours.
extra. Yeah, I don't buy extra tokens just because I've upped the plan, and you might want to decide how much you're using it. So people are like, oh, but $100 a month. I actually have the $200 a month. $100 a month is a lot. I totally understand that. But if you're using it right, it's the equivalent of 5 assistants. And I don't know anyone that you can hire with the same skill set for $200 a month. And so I personally would get rid of other programs to actually have the $200 a month in order to do all of these things. So I'm not great at answering the token question about like adding extra tokens because I just have the plan. And so I haven't had to do that for a very long time. I'm sorry, I don't have better information for you there. But I do know that the 5 hours, and you can go into Claude and ask that question, it resets at 5 hours, not like 12 or 24 hours. So if you start at 7 o'clock in the morning and then you go and you're doing like a big project, on at the 4.5-hour mark, right? You're gonna run out of juice. You have to wait till it resets. Okay. So let's go back into email and see where we are with that. Okay, Claude's still working. It does take a bit of time, a little bit of extra time, because I'm also on a Zoom right now. When I do this in general, I usually let it run. It takes 2 or 3 minutes, and then it's ready to go. And so just know that it's not instant, but it is allowing me to do something else. And right on cue goes the dog barking. Okay, so back to our 16 things. Okay, so we talked about templates. Okay, this is not an AI thing, but this is another one. Dusty, come here, honey. This is another one that how much faster would it be if the templates lived as contacts rather than Claude having to pull from Drive? Yes, that's a great question. I also have the templates inside of Context. They are a little bit faster inside of Drive, but not by much. And so you can definitely have them living inside of Claude and pulling that way. I was specifically trying to show agents in this demo that they could have the templates live in Drive, go into Drive and click the M button and have them drop directly into Mail, and or use Gemini and or use Claude. But that's a great question. I love that one. And again, I do have them stored there as well. Okay, this is not an AI feature, but schedule send. Who's using schedule send in their emails? Okay, so I'm a stickler for messages at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I don't want them and I don't want to send them. But sometimes I do work late because the house is quiet, and that just works in our schedule. And for all the moms out here, I know that sometimes we're working at weird hours. It doesn't mean we have to send messages at weird hours. And so the schedule send, this is not an AI thing. It's just something inside of your Google or your Outlook that I encourage you to use. Type all your messages at 11 o'clock and then schedule them to go out in the next morning. Snooze emails is another another great thing that you can do inside of your Gmail. Again, not an AI feature, but just a really smart thing to do inside of Google. Okay, so auto sort everything in the right folder. Again, for I don't know, 15 years now, I have been an avid Dropbox user, and I probably am never going to change that. And over the years, one of the things that that I've been religious or relentless about is naming conventions, right? When we get documents from another agent, for example, they often have weird names attached to them because there's been a lot of upload and download. There's something that's come out of DocuSign or .loop or anything like that. Naming conventions and organization with your systems, your content, your everything, your email contacts, your calendars. I have another course that talks about syncing your contacts and syncing your calendars. It was always important from an organization standpoint. It was always important for a mental health standpoint for me because I don't like to have to search for something. I talk in my academy about like my nuances. If it's more than 5 clicks, I'm out. If I have to upload and download, I already hate it, right? And so organizing files and having things named correctly and having context all live in one place has always been important to me from a business standpoint. Here's the catch. I didn't recognize that it was going to be such a big benefit once AI launched. Okay. The reason I'm able to call Claude up and say, please craft this email for me is because the email is called something and it's been called the same thing for all these years and it lives everywhere in all of my systems with the same title. If you don't have, like, you can't automate anything if it's not already a process. And so that's super important to know because if you just randomly start trying this and it doesn't work, you're going to end up frustrated. You're probably frustrated because your information isn't stored correctly. Okay, so it says that it's 3 seconds. It's reviewing the offer and the email now. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. Okay. So scheduling appointments without your calendar. I voice prompt this all the time inside of Claude or inside of my email. Please schedule an appointment with Sarah Crawford. You'll find her email in my contacts, and that goes to what I was just talking about. If your contacts aren't actually all cleaned up and in good working order inside of Google or Outlook, it doesn't matter. When you say schedule a time slot or schedule an appointment with Sarah Crawford at 2:00 on Friday, it's not going to be able to find your email address, the email address, in order to craft that message, which is why that's a really important first step. But that works again in Outlook and in Google. Okay, I'm going to share with you what the morning brief looks like. Let me just pull that up on another screen. But all my screens are at like 300 size right now. So give me a second on that one. Morning. Okay, so every morning I receive an email from Claude. It goes into my calendar. It goes into my email. It goes, I set up goal, like here's what I want to focus in. I want to transition to a 4-day work week. So Claude is reminding me at the beginning of and this is something that actually is done inside of Claude Cowork. This is something you create inside of Claude Cowork for everyone who is asking about skills and integration and where you were creating these things. So my goal, so you block out April 25th through May 4th this weekend. Good. Now, what's one thing today you can systematize or delegate so future Rebecca doesn't need to be here on Friday? Pick it, build it once, never do it again. So Claude's reminding me you don't want to work on Fridays anymore. So go do something that makes that happen. I love it. It's also giving me my priorities. Here are your 3 priorities: the masterclass, the closing, and install day for staging. And then it's giving me a breakdown of my calendar. I actually have my Rebecca Green & Co. is my coaching. And then my real estate team is Selling Portland Real Estate. And if you notice these tags on the right-hand side of this, it says RG and Co. and it says Spree. So I have it set up where it's pulling both my calendars and it's pulling from both of my emails, which is super important if you have even like a family calendar and you want to integrate those. You want to make sure that you have that all connected correctly. It's also giving me a 3-day look ahead. And then if you look down here, I have set up a contact group called VIP. And I've prompted Claude to make sure that any any email that comes in from a VIP email contact is prioritized. So it is rolling that up and it is keeping those together. I don't have any of those right now. So that's why it doesn't say anything. Okay, so Active Campaign Pulse. I have my Active Campaign is what I run my email marketing from. And I have Active Campaign connected to my Gmail. I also have it connected to my Claude. Oh my goodness, a lot of this today. I have it connected to my Claude as well. And so what I love right now, and I did notice it when I was in Claude this morning, but if you look at what it says Active Campaign Pulse. Typically what that says, that tells me in the morning is it will tell me you have deployed these five email pieces over the last 24 hours. This one had this open rate. This one had that open rate. It highlights ones that had more click rates in it. So it gives me a whole breakdown of everything that's happened inside of my email marketing. And I'm going to say this when I talk about email marketing, and I know there are people on this call that are going to hate me for it. You have to use something other than Flowdesk. Flowdesk does not take HTML. I can build inside of Claude by voice command an entire email campaign. It creates the HTML. It then loads it into my Active Campaign. I review it and I hit send. Unfortunately, Flowdesk doesn't allow you to take an HTML and drop it in. Sorry, Kristen, I know. We've already had this conversation. I know. That's why I said I know people are going to hate me. And listen, I think it's beautiful. Flowdesk is beautiful. They need to figure that out because they are dating themselves because they don't allow for it. And there are other systems other than Active Campaign that will take HTML. If you are thinking about making a switch, make sure you have something that will take HTML. Here's another thing. If Claude is your thing, right? And you want to use Claude and you're thinking about a new system, go into the Claude connectors and look up to see if that system, it has a connection. And yes, you can do a zap to connect almost anything, but it's better if it is a native connection. So that's one way of testing things, right? Look to see what the capabilities are and then also ask Claude, hey, I'm thinking about onboarding this system. What can you do with it? Sometimes it comes back and says absolutely nothing. And so maybe that would be a system you'd choose not to do. Okay. Can you tell them that I actually have a call with them next week? I can't tell them. They need HTML and they also need a team structure, right? That's another thing they don't have. Okay. So it tells me what my upcoming events are. It tells me what I have going on in Notion. I also have Notion connected. I use that for project management. I have my Notion connected to my Claude and to my email. And then it says, it gives me something at the end of every email. And this one, it says, make it count. We could totally go into our calendar. We could totally go into our email and we could extract all of this. But boy, this is a quick rundown. For example, I saw something in here where my client still needs to get power of attorney for a tax consultant that they're working with, right? Like that is something I might have forgotten. That is something I might have missed. So the rundown is super cool. And I have it that it deploys at 6 o'clock every morning or at 5:50 every morning. So by 6 o'clock in the morning, I have it delivered in my inbox. Okay, let's go back over to, I don't know what happened to my Claude here. Are you stalled? This seems to be taking longer than expected. I don't need you to do anything inside of Zoom, and I see you opening Zoom. Can you open the email template for congratulations, you've received an offer? Okay, we'll go a different route. I kept seeing it logging into the Zoom. So we will give it a second. And obviously I have a lot of different systems running, which does slow everything down a bit. But let's go back to our 16 weeks because there are a couple of other ones I want to get through before we go back to that. Okay, the morning briefing, I love. Batch a schedule of follow-up. So, hey, Claude, can you create me a sequence for 5 follow-up emails or 5 emails for an event that I have coming up? I need to send the invitations out, whatever it might be. You can use this directly in your email and batch create multiple emails directly in your email without even having to go into Claude. I'm in Claude all day long, but I like the idea of being able to do these things in a system we're in all the time, right? On our phone, at our desktop, at our laptops. Okay, so this one's fun. Anyone ever at the end of the day say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's 4 o'clock. What did I actually get done today? No one's ever said that, right? Like, where did the day go? Okay. This one's a little bit on the crazy side and also Claude won't mince words on this. So I encourage you to look at your calendar for either the last 30 days or the next 30 days might even make more sense. So for 30 days, put into your calendar absolutely everything you spent time doing. Even if it was picking the kids up, even if it was meal prepping, even if it was homework after school or being at the ball game, whatever it might be, put all of them into your calendar, right? Because we have our work appointments in the calendar, right? So, but we don't have the space in between or the things that we were doing in between. Get it all into your calendar, do it for 30 days, and then ask Claude to look at your calendar for the last 30 days and categorize them. Prospecting, showings, admin, client meetings, personal. Claude's going to deliver you a breakdown of where your hours actually went. When I talked to my team about this, they were like, yeah, we don't want to run that one. We don't want to run that one. So every time you're spending a half an hour touching base with clients or doing any kind of prospecting, put it in your calendar. What's super about this is that it just gives you a perspective of, oh gosh, I didn't do any prospecting over the last 30 days. If you're not prospecting, you're not earning more business. And so it's a way for you to make an adjustment next month. And it is very eye-opening. And also it comes with not a lot of fluff. It just is delivered exactly like Claude sees it out of your calendar. Another great way from a scheduling standpoint is find the opening. I need to fit in 3 one-hour client calls this week. Find me slots that aren't before 9 or after 5. I use this one all the time. And it'll scan your calendar and tell you exactly what's available. And so you can block those times out. This I love. And my team is really utilizing this for even booking one-on-ones. Hey, I need a one-on-one with Rebecca. Jump into her calendar. Here's the link and book it for me. Okay. Can you tell? Oh, let's see. What did I miss? I need this. This one is great. This one is great. Okay. So the last one, and then I'll go back to our email, is build a showing tour route. I know that some MLSs do it, some MLSs don't, but what if your client texts you 5 properties and says, I want to see these 5 properties this week? If they text you, you can copy and paste all of those, drop it into Claude on your phone even, and say, tell me the showing tour for this. Tell me how I should schedule these showings based on driving directions. It will actually give you the time in between each one of the houses as well. So it's 6 minutes between this house and that house. Schedule this one at 10 o'clock. You're probably going to be there until 10:20. It's 6 minutes to get to the next one. It's safe to schedule the next showing for 10:30. I use Cloud CMA. Cloud CMA does that as well for a driving tour, and you can move things around the map. But I like this even better because I'm getting it before I start scheduling. Cloud CMA, I export from the RMLS into Cloud CMA to give me the driving tour. So this one is pretty great from a ease of, and also it builds a beautiful driving tour. And you can actually, if you have all of your brand guidelines inside of Claude, if you've built those out, it can actually create something that you then send to your client that's beautifully presented with all of your own branding on it. So that's probably Claude. You know, we're on 102. Maybe that's Claude 103, but that's another huge value. Okay, who has questions before I go back into that email? No questions? Okay, Sarah.
Sorry. I was going to ask you about your academy, but maybe you're going to get to that.
We could talk about it because Claude still, I changed gears with Claude and I didn't approve it. So yeah, thank you for asking. I run the CEO Agent Academy. It is $97 a year for access. The CEO Agent Academy is all ops and always has been all ops first, marketing second, because once you have a solid foundation, you can do all of the pretty stuff. But without the solid foundation, the pretty stuff doesn't hit as well. And so with AI and all of the advancements in AI, I've taken the CEO Agent operating system and revamped it all with AI actually integrated into everything, like I was showing you with the email templates, not just bolted on, and certainly not just for running listing descriptions. While I like it for the listing descriptions, I only like it for the listing descriptions once you've actually built Claude out. Does that help, Sarah?
Yeah. So is it like self-paced, first of all, like modules?
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
great. So there's a couple of things, and I'll actually go in and show you. Not only are we self-paced, but I have all of the meeting replays live inside of the academy. We have 6 guest coaches with us monthly. This is new. I'm rolling that out this week. So Kristen's going to be in the community as the community builder. We have a money coach. We have a mindset coach. We have a content creation coach. We have a social media strategy coach. And then I cover operations and AI. But it is all self-paced as far as having access to the content. We also host a Monday meeting, which is typically something about ops. And then our Thursday meetings are geared towards some sort of marketing component inside of the academy. But this is actually the back end of the academy. So you have replays, you have quick links to anything that we have coming up. We have upcoming events, and all Academy members have access to all of the events. You can hover over and see what those events are. So this is, for example, Brianne Williams is our social media strategist, and she coaches with us on the first Thursday of every month. So we have quite a few meetings as well. And then we do also have an AI team of 3. So Avery is your business planning bot. Becky is for creating your brand DNA. And then Cami is for content creation. These are all geared towards really getting to know you and therefore producing better results. So we have 3 bots already built in, and I want to call them agents, not bots. I feel like it's a nicer term, but 3 agents are already built. We have 3 others coming in the next couple of weeks.
So you have access to use these agents in your own business are already built out, or you're building them out in the academy directly per your brand, each
These are
person's
all
brand.
these three. Yeah, these three are custom chats. These are custom. These are Chat GPTs. These are customized chats, and you're going to use Avery in conjunction with the CEO Agent Academy business plan. And the business plan and Avery work together. When you're done with that, you go ahead and you move on to Becky to build out your brand DNA. And then from Becky, you take that into Cami, your content creation. And those are all accessible inside of the community for all Academy members.
And then if you're somebody like me who is basically a chat GPT user in really the most basic terms, and all of this stuff is whoo, does this take you from I don't do anything
Yes.
with AI basically and beyond,
Yes.
almost like and kind of you can follow an order to because I know you're way up here
Yes.
and I'm like way down here. That's why I
Okay,
went.
I'm going to interrupt real quick. I'm super disappointed. My Claude doesn't like the Zoom integration for creating that email for me. So I'm afraid that one's not going to work, but I will drop inside of the Moms in Real Estate. I will do it when we get off of Zoom so you all can see it actually in action. Um, but it keeps pulling something with the Zoom is tripping it out. And I've actually never demoed this on a Zoom before. But I'll come back to it. Okay, so here's a tip for anyone who is currently using ChatGPT and they want to actually move from ChatGPT into Claude. You can actually go in, and we have a prompt inside of the Academy. You can go in and you can export important details from your ChatGPT and then import it into Claude.
Okay.
Yep. And that'll help you get Claude up and running. Okay, for the guys in the group, I'll send out in my weekly email. Okay, yeah, I'll do the live demo. I didn't realize that the Zoom would trip it up. Effectively, Claude, when you deploy it like that, it opens the email, it types all of the information from the offer in the email, and it is absolutely brilliant. And I pulled up the contract and the email that I sent, and it was almost exact. It was actually the Claude version was better. They had better information in it. It was almost exact. And it takes about 3 to 4 minutes and the whole thing is built out. So I'll go ahead and make sure you guys see that in live action. I'm going to watch it to see if it might output it while we're here. Okay. Anyone have any other questions that I can help answer?
I think if anyone's like me and probably Sarah, like it's a lot to digest. I think like what I'm gonna do is take this recording and then like pause it, implement. So if anyone's feeling like me, maybe that's a good suggestion.
That's a great way of doing it. And also starting in small places, like people were talking about skills and people were talking about different access points inside of Claude, or I was talking about co-work. One of the reasons I love this particular 16 things you didn't know that Claude could do with your calendar and email is because it's calendar and email, right? We're all in our calendar and email, and you don't even really have to be inside of Claude to do almost everything that I was talking about. You can do it directly in your email. So I love it from that standpoint.
I love that. And then also for anybody that's interested in her academy, I will make sure to have that in the follow-up emails too. I mean, Rebecca, I think that's a no-brainer. $97 a year is awesome.
It is. And it's we start with the basics on an AI standpoint, and then we go from there. We're going to build out more extensive ones. I think AI is something we should all be leaning into. We shouldn't fear it, because one thing you have to remember for anyone who's fearful that AI might take our jobs, it's kind of like what I tell sellers about Zillow. Oh gosh, well, when was the last time Zillow visited your house? Or, oh, I know that Zillow said that house was worth X, but Zillow's never been in the house. It's perspective, right? And so utilizing AI, you have to understand that garbage in creates garbage out. So the more you can train it on who you are, the better output you're going to get. So it's not going to ever take our jobs because it won't, well, I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen in 20 or 30 years, but I think currently we don't have anything to worry about. What we should be thinking about is how can we leverage it to save us time? Yeah, garbage in, garbage out is a good, yeah, it's so true. And also understanding that perspective. We want whatever output we are delivering to clients, we want to make sure that it has our perspective tied into it. And so those are some of the things that I teach inside of the academy. And I'll
Awesome.
drop a
Okay, I'm
link
gonna
right
real quick.
here
All right, and I
where
just
everyone
put
can
your
find me.
Instagram so that everyone can
Oh,
follow
good.
you.
Thanks.
Oh wait, I just sent that to Ricky, so hold on, let me see. Everyone. There we go. Oh, not Ricky. I'm copying and
Okay, so
pasting too many things.
my quad seems to not be hung up right now on the Zoom. I should have thought about that earlier. Um, but we'll see if it populates before we're done. How much time do we have? Okay, we have 4 minutes. Can I help anyone with anything specific that we covered? Nope. Okay.
I have another fill.
Everybody Wait, I'm going to say one thing. Everybody
Oh,
here, the one thing everyone has to do is they have to do that undo feature if you're a Google user. That one's a no-brainer and takes 2 seconds. Okay, Sarah, go ahead.
okay. Do you, in order for all this to integrate, do you need to use the Gmail that is web-based versus like on your computer, the mail app?
That's a good question. So that's also, I do have something in the community about connecting your making. So sometimes we use, I'm a believer that you should be using, if you're a Gmail user, you should be using Google Workspace and not your native mail app and do
Hmm.
it on your phone. It keeps things seamless. And also, it keeps it easier for your contacts to all end up in one place, right?
Okay.
Have you ever like been searching for a contact that you can find on your phone, but you can't find it on your email? You can't find it on your desktop or your laptop?
Hmm.
It's because your contacts aren't all fully synced. So you can run the two different apps. I personally believe that you should, if you're a Google Workspace user, you should run everything out of Google Workspace on your iPhone on everything. It should all be consistent.
If you have like 5 Gmail accounts, do they all combine into one in on Google Workspace? They,
Yeah. So I have
yeah.
multiple email accounts and I've
Mhm.
connected them all so they all roll into one. And then I can pick and choose and toggle things on and off. Same thing with my calendars. I have multiple calendars that
Mhm.
are in operation across both my businesses. When I run my morning update, the reason it's collecting all of the calendar events for the two different businesses is because I've asked it to do that. But even if I didn't ask it to do that, those things all roll up into my one calendar.
Okay.
Okay, we have a hard stop right now. So I love you, Rebecca. This was amazing. Thank you. And everybody, check your inbox soon for the replay and for the info for the Agent Academy.
And I'll send you the loom of Claude creating this contract for me. It is still getting hung up on Zoom. So I learned something today. For some reason, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like working while Zoom is going. All right, everyone. Thank you very
Okay,
much. Thanks, Kristen.
bye. Thanks, Rebecca.
Bye.